This is going to be my honest review for the film Longlegs. It's going to be chock full of spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, don't watch it. I went to this movie having zero information. I had not seen a trailer. I had not really seen anything. I knew nothing about it. I didn't know what to expect. Once I saw Nicolas Cage's name come up as starring and also producer, I had more of an idea of what maybe to expect. This is not the space to be having an op-ed conversation about, is Nicolas Cage a good actor, yes or no? I'm gonna start with the positives here. It was very scary, very startling. The jump scares were really, really good. I actually threw my popcorn, like it was on my lap and I jumped so much the popcorn, it was humiliating. Acting was really good. Cinematography was really good. I liked the motif that they used throughout to indicate like when things happened in time. Like they would use like a different aspect ratio for like when things were in the past, which I really liked because it didn't feel like they were like spoon feeding the audience. The kind of like subtle reflections of the devil in places, like in like windows or like wherever, like very subtly having like the horns in the background, so it was terrifying. Practical effects, especially on the dead bodies, really good. Loved it. Really good use of, you know, score and of sound design. Now we'll get into my critiques. This movie gave you entirely too much sometimes and not enough in other points. And what I mean by that is they really spoon-fed you where you didn't need it and really just didn't give you enough information where you probably needed more information. And with doing too much, the character of Longlegs, played by Nicolas Cage, was very much the character played by Nicolas Cage. It was giving Nicolas Cage. It was giving Joker. It was giving, like, there was a lot of, like, even like verbal insinuation, like that he was kind of like Manson, but also kind of like the Zodiac killer. And like, there just really wasn't like a clear cut, like, what is this guy like? He was just like really like kind of over the top. The use of prosthetics was an interesting choice. I do understand that Nicolas Cage has a very unique look, especially regarding the nose. I felt that the specifically the prosthetic nose was not realistic at all, and I feel that that must have been an intentional choice for some reason because the rest of the practical effects were really good. So I don't really understand why that was the way it was. Storyline, there was just like way too much going on. I feel like they should have kind of like picked a direction and kind of stuck with the direction, but it was kind of like, this is happening, and also this, and also, it's like, okay. The lead actress was phenomenal, especially the fact that I'm pretty sure she also played her own mother, so she had to interact with nobody in scene, which, like, acting by yourself is really difficult, so she did a phenomenal job. However, the writing for her character was really not well thought out. I feel they didn't have, like, a consultant, like a law enforcement consultant on hand or on standby, because, like, just the way she behaved throughout the entire film was just like, are you the worst FBI agent in the entire world? Like, from the jump, like, why would you not call for backup when your partner gets shot in the face? Why would you go in your house, you see that, like, somebody just left, the killer just left a coded message on your thing, and you're not gonna call, you're not even gonna tell the other FBI agents on the case that the serial killer in question was literally in your house leaving you notes? The other characters and the way they interacted with her in law enforcement didn't really make any sense. Like, she just goes in one day and she's like, other FBI agent like brings in something, that a new thing that they've got to decode, and she's just like sitting there like writing it like too slow, blah 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 blah, and he's like, wow, how do you know that? And she's like, I decoded it. And he's just like, okay. He wasn't like, can you show me how? Can you? Nothing. She was just kind of like, trust me, bro. And he was like, cool. In the beginning, it almost seemed like they were trying to insinuate she was like clairvoyant or something, but they kind of just like ditched they ditched the whole thing. We never really found out why he's called Longlegs, except for the fact in the beginning he was like, I guess I forgot my long legs. Like, it was giving salad fingers. It was just like, the character just like, yeah, it was Nicolas Cage. So that being said, like, why was she suddenly a photographer? Like, why as a little girl, when he came to the property, she just like took a picture of him? Where did your camera come from? We didn't see this camera or know anything about the fact that this kid takes pictures until like the very end of the movie. It felt like it was like an afterthought, right? It wasn't like in Beetlejuice where like Lydia's always walking around with the camera, right? It's like, oh, all this, cool, that would have been nice to know, or see any evidence of that at another time. For a while, I thought the twist was maybe going to be like that Longlegs is her dad, but like, no, there's just no family dynamic there, which really doesn't make sense with the other families that were murdered in town, because it's just like, there's always like a mom and a dad, and usually the dad is the one who like goes crazy and murders her family and like whatever, and the doll is supposed to be like possessing the child or something and like making the child lose their memory about this thing and put them into like a dissociative trance or whatever. But like in the case of like the lead character, this dude just shows up with a doll for her. But when they flash back to like when the mom is telling the story, when they flash back to the doll being made, the doll in question that was given to the main character when she was a little girl, they show Longlegs making the doll in the basement of the house they live in. But like he didn't supposedly move in there until after the mom made a deal like, hey, don't hurt my kid, I'll do whatever you want. And then she basically became like the equivalent of like the Manson family, whereas Longlegs didn't actually do anything. He just orchestrated stuff, and then he had other people do his dirty work for him. That's what the mom became in order to save her own daughter. But like, was that just like poor thought afterwards? Like, I just thought the cat would have been dead after a month without water. I don't know if they were trying to insinuate that the cat was eating them, but that's still not going to be enough. I did like that there was no question about it. There was no question, is somebody mentally ill? Is somebody like hallucinating this? Is this a delusion? Like, no, it was very cut and dry. This is a demonic possession film. There was no question that this had to do with devil worship. And movies like that scared the crap out of me. Personally, I think at the end, they should have like cut it when like her memory comes back, when like the mom shoots the doll or whatever. They could have just left it at that. Like when she's like her mom's holding her in bed and she's like, you know, and then this man came and, you know, I had to save you, so I did whatever it took to save him. And then like, that's it. We don't need 5 more minutes of a monologue to explain. We get it. The rest of the movie is the monologue. You don't have to explain step by step. We get it. You saved your daughter by like making a deal with this Longlegs guy. Also, I don't think we needed the scene where they went to the other FBI agent's house with like the daughter, and it's the daughter's birthday. They could have just cut it where he was like, you're late for so-and-so's birthday party. End movie. Because we go there and she's, again, a terrible FBI agent. Her mom's sitting there and this guy is clearly possessed. He even says, I'm gonna go in the kitchen. And the wife is like, I'll come with you. I'll see you in a second. He's like, no, you won't see her in a sec because you're going to remain in the kitchen. And he has a kitchen. He's going to stab her. And she's just like, what do I do? It's like, shoot him. Call for backup. Also, the fact that like she wasn't a suspect, like the main suspect the entire time, especially when like the killer, like they just like, he was clearly just like targeting her and like she knew way too much and they weren't like, how do you know so much? What is your involvement? And then they were just like, she was just like, here's a picture of him. I took this when I was a baby, I guess. I don't remember, but I guess I did. And they're just like, oh, and then they just find the guy? Also, if people are getting murdered in town, who the hell do you think it's going to be? This guy? The crazy guy who's clearly crazy? Yeah, it's probably him. And like, he's so messy. There's no way he was like smart enough to be like getting away with this. And it would be one thing if he really wasn't the one doing it, because he wasn't, but like he was also just like not in the area, right? But like, no, he was orchestrating the murders in the house of the mom who was actually committing the murders. And he's messy, he's sloppy, he's crazy. So you're telling me they wouldn't have ever found it? And if you think the FBI agent's mom is now the murderer, you're just gonna have one lady who showed up once in the show, like, go with her. You're not gonna have a SWAT team. Like, the movie was scary. It had so much potential, but it literally just felt like somebody gave someone who doesn't have ADHD Adderall, gave Nicolas Cage Adderall and was just like, right. There was a lot there, but like, you gotta pick a lane. Anyway, that's my review. I doubt anyone will want any more of these. Oh my God. Also, forgot to mention, they wouldn't bring a fucking doll to the coroner. Under no circumstance. That was fucking ridiculous. That was stupid as hell. I have a feeling no one's gonna like this video or watch it. Bye-bye.